All right, so we're going to go ahead and get started. Good evening, everyone. My name is Dawn Edwards. I'm a school counselor here at Homewood Flossmoor High School, and welcome to HF's Guidance Department's Early College Career and Post-Secondary Awareness Program, specially designed for the exploration of 9th and 10th graders, but all are welcome. So thank you so much for joining us. We are so excited to be doing this again because we've been off for about a year and a half, but we have two great guests this evening, Mr. Omar Solomon of Eastern Illinois University and Mr. Mark Kramer of Remark Training that will be sharing their insights and expertise with you on what skills you can begin our students to build right now to lay a good foundation for applying to and getting admitted to college, and what the career and labor department data trends are, and what that looks like in terms of careers in that area. So in addition, I have some great giveaways courtesy of our guidance department chairperson, Mr. Smith. And this is the giveaway right here. I don't know if you can see it, but it is called the Teen's Guide to College and Career Planning. And so I am going to put up a screen so that you can see how to get this great resource from me. Let's see, let me try to advance my screen here. Here we go. So that's our guest, and our wonderful Director of Information Technology is in the background helping us out, Mr. Steve Richardson, so we thank him. And this is the resource giveaway. It's called the Teen's Guide to College and Career Planning, and it's by Justin Ross Muchnick. And I have these giveaways. If you just send me an email to dedwards@hf233.org with ECAP in the subject line, and in the body of the email, your son or daughters or both full name and ID, I will send you this great resource to help you set a strong foundation. So it's a little gift pack. It's not just the book. There are a couple other resources in there to help you start your planning in this direction. So if you send me that information, and I will again repeat this at the end, we will get you this packet of information. I also just want to, I can't see them right now, but if there are any faculty from HF and staff that are joining us this evening, good evening to you, and thank you for joining us. So here is a snapshot of our agenda this evening. So we'll hit you with a lot of great information in a short period of time. So get your pens and pencils ready, all right? And if you have a question, we will try to leave some time for questions and answers at the end. If you do have a question, you can click on the Q&A button at the bottom of your screen and type your questions in the chat. And then I will go ahead and direct those to Mr. Solomon and Mr. Kramer to see what kind of questions that you have, and they can answer it. All right. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce Mr. Omar Solomon. Mr. Solomon is the admissions counselor at Eastern Illinois University, starting in his 10th year in this profession. As an alumni of EIU, Omar brings an enthusiastic, yes he does, approach to the students he interacts with, helping them ease the transition from high school to college. He is amazing. That's why we ask him to do this presentation all the time. He currently manages the Access Granted Overnight Trip Program for the Office of Admissions, which helps to showcase the university for prospective students of color on Eastern's campus. In addition to his work at EIU, he is actively involved with the Illinois Association of College Admission Counseling, previously serving on the executive board as a council team director. A native of Matteson, or Matteson, whichever one you want to say, in the south suburbs of Chicago, Omar earned his degree in communication studies with a focus in electronic media production in the fall of 2009. So without further ado, Mr. Omar Solomon.
Well, OMG, Mrs. Edwards, I feel like so official right now. Like I've never had an introduction like that in my life. And now I feel like my life is complete. So I truly appreciate you introducing me like that. I will take those flowers today. Um, Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, no matter when you watch this presentation or if you are here with us now. Definitely want to give a shout out to, I think it was like roughly 60 students and families tuned in at 7 p.m. for a virtual program. So round of applause for yourselves right now, because that is totally amazing. It's the largest virtual program I've done at this time period. So shout out to you, Ms. Edwards, for that. As you mentioned, my name is Omar Solomon. I'm a regional admissions counselor at Eastern Illinois University, proud alum. I always tell jokes. I always say I graduated back when I had hair on top of my head many, many moons ago, and it's just matriculated down into my beard. But I'm super excited to talk to you guys about helping that, making that, giving you all the feel. Pretty much, I'm going to say, give you guys a game plan right now. I'm going to give you guys feel to drive the car, and you'll realize what feel is at the end of the presentation. But we're going to help find your fit. If you guys have any questions about the college process, feel free to type them into the chat. I can touch on them after the presentation. I can also touch on them at the end after our career presentation as well. But I'm going to ask you guys 3 quick questions real quick before we get started. I want you guys to write them down. You guys can go ahead, grab a phone, grab a pen and paper. You don't got to answer them now, but if I visit the high school, and I'll be back at HF, I'll be at the college fair. You'll see me in the spring. You never know, you'll see me all over, because I love coming to home with Flossmoor. Just ask yourself, who is responsible for your future? Okay. If you can ask yourself, who's responsible for your future? That's the first question I want to ask you guys. Number 2, what should you be doing in high school now to prepare for college? All right. So ask yourself, what should you be doing in high school now to prepare for college? And then finally, how will your college experience be different than high school? You may ask me, you say, Omar, I'm a freshman, I'm a sophomore. Why are you asking me these questions? Well, right now, the average age of the room that I'm talking to is maybe 15 years old. So you're halfway to 30, so it's time to start preparing. Sorry to make you guys feel kind of old. It's time to start preparing for that next step. All right. And to make you feel better, I'm 35. I'm still cool. Sheesh. Let's get started. You will catch about 3 to 5 TikTok references throughout the presentation. So if you do catch one, just, look at your parents and give me an LOL. But ask yourself, what is important to you? And as we get ready to make this transition from high school to college, I want to give you guys some just fuel for your car to help give you every step that is needed, everything that you need to know. And the first thing is, what are you looking for in a college? Or what is the size? What is the location? So let's go back in time. When I was younger, when I was looking to go away to college, I said, all right, I wanted to get as far away from my parents as much as possible. Okay. I wanted to just go far, far, far away until I realized I didn't want to go too far, So when you're thinking about colleges, are you thinking about in-state? Are you thinking about out-of-state? Are you thinking about the large flagship universities? Are you thinking about medium-sized schools, similar to EIU, a medium-sized university? What about those smaller schools? Usually those are private liberal arts colleges. All right. Are you thinking about school in a rural environment, in a rural college town, or about in an urban, booming downtown city atmosphere? What are you looking for in that institution? And we'll talk about the visit opportunities. What are you looking for in the classroom? Like this is a virtual screen. Are you expecting lectures every day? Do you actually want to get to know who your professors are? When you're going on college visits, when you're asking questions to any admissions counselor, anytime a school visits your school, talk about what is the classroom experience like? Will the students actually know who the professors are as early as their freshman year? That's very important throughout the entire college process, because if we all want to get that entry level position, or if we want to go to a graduate school, we're going to need resumes. We're going to need letters of recommendation. And who's better than a professor that's known you and build a rapport with you for sometimes 4 to 5 years? You can get that a lot at smaller or medium universities. You can also get that at a larger university, but ask those questions. All right. So, and we're going to talk about the visit experience in just a second, but the location is so important. All right. So I went to EIU, Eastern Illinois University. That's located in Charleston, Illinois, founded in 1895, not too far from this region, just 2 hours south on 57, 45 minutes south of the Champaign-Urbana area. When I went to EIU, I had no idea where it was. I just was driving. My sister went to U of I. I'm like, you know what? I thought I want to go to U of I. Then I visited, and I'm like, oh, this is way too big for me. Way too big. But then I stumbled across Eastern. I'm like, okay, not too bad. There's no Target here, but I can get used to it. But that's the thing. You got to visit these universities, the location. And it wasn't too far from home, but it was also close enough that if I needed to go home, I can wash clothes at the same time, but also far enough away that my parents weren't going to knock on the door 24/7. So that's why location is important. If you want to go out of state, that's perfectly fine, but definitely ask questions. How much is an out-of-state tuition compared to an in-state tuition? Does your tuition lock in for 4 consecutive years? If you're out of state, how soon can you become an in-state tuition resident? So those are some very important questions when you're thinking about the college experience, especially if you're thinking out of state. All right. The academic programs, that's so important. What do you want to major in? Ask yourself, what is important to you? If it's a job, it is a career, and sometimes those starts with your foundation. That's the academic programs that you're looking into. All right. So feel free if you guys want to type in the chat some majors that you guys are thinking about, be it if it's education, if it's business, if it's in the STEM field, if it's nursing, if you're undecided, if it's the shoulder shrug, if you have no idea what you want to get into, you want to write down some of these majors that you're listed, that you're interested in. You also want to write down, you can write these in the chat, or you can write these in your own personal notes, some locations that you're thinking about in college. So I think the key thing as we go through those first 4 bullet points, what do you want? Are you looking for a small, medium, or larger university? Public or private school, in-state or out-of-state? The overall location, the region, Midwest, down south, the East Coast, out west. All right. And then some of the academic programs that college offers. One piece of advice that I give a lot of students is if you take every Sunday night, after dinner, or after a football game or after whatever, and you just block out 1 hour of time to answer those 4 questions as early as your freshman or sophomore year, as we transition into your junior year, that whole entire college search process is going to be so seamless. You're already going to know the schools that you're interested in. You're already going to know the areas that you're thinking about. You're already going to know the majors that you're considering as well. All right. And then you'll be able to pair those up as you prepare for campus visits throughout the junior and senior year. All right. So ask yourself those questions. And then once you get those questions together, we got to talk about the cost. And that's when we got to bring our parents into play. We want to talk about the cost. We want to talk about the financial aid opportunities. We want to talk about the scholarships that these colleges are going to offer. A lot of times we hear college is so expensive. I don't want to take loans. Oh my God. How am I going to afford this? And, college can be expensive at times, but I'm here to tell you that also you can really go to college for a little to, if you're academically consistent, if you're consistently good and not occasionally great academically, you can really offset the total cost of the college tuition and fees. All right. For a lot of the state universities, your tuition will lock in for 4 consecutive years. And then we'll touch on room and board in just a second. But the financial aid process, you start that in October 1st of your senior year when you're doing the FAFSA. Then that's to be eligible for the state aid. So that is the state MAP grant, to be eligible for also the federal aid as well. So that could be the Pell Grant, that could be the Perkins, the Perkins was stopped. That can be your subsidized or unsubsidized loans. And also any institutional grants. Some colleges will have, for example, EIU, U of I, they have similar programs where they can cover your tuition and fees if you meet a certain income range. Usually that's around a $63,000, $65,000 income range. They can cover your tuition and fees, if you meet a certain GPA. So there's so many ways to offset the cost. There's scholarships that can go anywhere from $2,000, $1,000 up to a full ride for so many colleges that you're thinking about. And that's how you really offset the total overall cost of college. Sometimes students will be awarded like a $1,000 scholarship here, a $500 scholarship here, and another $1,000 scholarship. And they're thinking like, oh, these are small amounts. But when you add these all up, that's $2,500 right there that you can just use to help offset the total cost of your tuition and fees here at the university. Those small scholarships, no matter the amount, they all add up, So apply to as many as possible. I always tell the story. I worked at McDonald's growing up. I used to consider myself the greatest drive-through driver of all time. I'm like, hey, welcome to Richmond Park McDonald's. How can I help you? And, I was like, I didn't even know that McDonald's had a scholarship at this time. So I was in my senior year of college and they said, Omar, did you apply for the McDonald's scholarship? I'm like, what McDonald's scholarship? And I'm like, so the things that I found out later on about FastWeb, and I know there's a lot of counselor databases and scholarship search engines that you guys can utilize as early as your freshman or sophomore year, but ask those questions. You can get a scholarship for being left-handed. Sometimes your parents' companies and their place of employment, they offer scholarships or tuition waivers for their children. There's scholarships for, being a student of color. Sometimes there's scholarships for being a part of various organizations, so there's so many ways, sometimes their fraternity or sororities can help offset the cost for their children, so there's so many ways to help offset that overall cost here at the college. And so colleges, universities, so you're really not paying that much. All right. What else are you looking for? And you really get this when you visit the campus. Do you want a campus that is going to be inclusive, and doesn't just use diversity as a token word? You don't want to just see when you get the pamphlet in the mail, that is their token of diversity. Are you going to see people from all walks of life walking on that campus, and you really get that throughout the campus visit experience, asking those questions, having the opportunity to learn. My college roommate was from Southern Illinois. He was a hardcore rocker. I listened to musicals and rap music, but we were like the best of friends. I was in his wedding last year, so you build these connections from near and far on the college campus. And you actually start that in high school. You're going to build these connections and you might get to a school. You might meet somebody from HF from the same school. You never spoke to him at HF, but guess what? You guys are going to be the best of friends at college. You know why? Because I know you. You have that relationship. You don't want to get lost in the shuffle, but you're going to have that connection. And you can really see that on the college campuses. All right. Now, we may have some athletes here, so you might want to go Division I, Division II, Division III, NAIA, so the athletic part might be a key factor in your college search. So one thing I would recommend to you is, going to as many camps as possible, going to showcases, getting seen, it's rare. I mean, I've been doing this for 10, 11 years now. And, I've had students walk up to me and say, man, I want to go D1. I'm like, we're Eastern Illinois. We're a medium-sized school. We're not, like Alabama. But Jimmy Garoppolo did go to Eastern, Tony Romo went to Eastern. I can drop some names. So I'm not going to like kill a dream or anything, but if you haven't played a sport until your senior year, you might want to focus on the academic part first, the student part before the athlete. But, if athletics are a key, are you utilizing your coach to advocate for you? Are they pushing your tape out? Are you going to camps? Are you going to showcases? So what is important to you? It could be the size of the school. It could be the type of school. It could be the overall cost. But if you can answer those questions, what's important to you is really going to help make that college transition go by a little seamlessly. Go ahead, Ms. Edwards.
And Omar, you have a future architect and someone who's interested in teaching kindergarten.
Awesome, definitely. And you can find architecture at a lot of these larger flagship universities. You can also find them at some of the smaller private schools. Like there's a school in Springfield, Missouri, Drury College, which is like a little bit out the way from St. Louis, but they have an architecture program. Of course, U of I and other universities. Education, I got to brag, EIU were the second largest producers of teachers in the state of Illinois, originally founded as an education school. So, it's definitely, one of our specialty programs of our 90 programs that we have to offer, but I'm not talking about EIU today. I'm not trying to go too deep, in too deep, like Drake said. We want to keep it moving. All right. So I want to give you guys some tips and tricks real quick as you guys are researching colleges. Those fast facts. A lot of these colleges and universities, they're going to have fast facts in terms of all their statistics about the program. It's going to give you the overall size of the college, the retention rate, the college size. Like, for example, EIU, medium-sized school, not too big, not too small. I told Miss Edwards I'll do one song. So we're kind of like High School Musical here at EIU because we're all in this together. Okay, we bop to the top because we're breaking free, because you are the music in me. Now, I don't dance, but if you get your head in the game and bet on it, you can have it all here at EIU because we don't stick to the status quo. And that's my song and dance for the day. But you can find this information on college websites. College websites are going to be your best friends. They're going to have the programs that they offer. All right. And I mentioned that use an hour every Sunday, research what colleges that you're interested in and make sure they have your program. You don't want to just go to a school because your best friend is going there. You don't want to go to a school just because your significant other is going there. Personal story, my younger sister went to a school because her significant other was there. They broke up in 2 weeks as soon as they got to that said school. She's doing fine now. So you guys don't laugh at my sister. I can see all the laughs in the Zoom chat. All right, I'm laughing too. It's okay. I laugh at her. It's my sister. But, you have these opportunities, if you do the research, and it's okay if you change your mind, but if you do the research, that transition is going to be so seamless. All right. But also very important. And I'm really going to focus on these last two because there's been a lot of changes in the admissions world as we enter a new normal, and knowing your deadlines and also the overall application process and the requirements. All right. So a lot of deadlines, so there's some schools that are going to be early action where you have to apply by a certain date. Normally that is around the November timeline. There's going to be some schools where you have to deposit by a certain date. Normally that's May 1st. If you do not commit to said university by May 1st, you're not going to get in. There's some schools where they're going to have their scholarship deadline around March 15th. And if you apply on March 16th, you might not be eligible for that said scholarship. They're going to be sending out information. A lot of colleges are going to be sending you guys emails. And I always recommend another piece of advice I can give you guys would be to create a college email. So that can be omargoestocollege@gmail.com. I know you guys have your HF email, but it can be another just simple Gmail or Yahoo email just for college. You can also give the password to your parent or guardians as well, so they can make sure that you're on top of things. I guarantee you they're going to check it a few times, but then once they see that you're consistently checking it, they're going to let you be because they trust you throughout that college process. All right. Also, in terms of the application process, a lot of schools since we've been going through the pandemic is recently making a lot of changes to the application process. And one of the major changes have been the movement for going test optional. A lot of schools were test optional prior to the pandemic, but a lot of schools have now stepped forward. And I'm so excited to me because that breaks down a big barrier in the college process is the test optional. So you might be asking yourself, Omar, what is test optional? What does that mean? I've heard test optional. I've heard test blind. Test optional means in terms of the admission criteria for a college or university, it is not required to submit your test scores if you meet a certain GPA, usually the either weighted or unweighted. It depends on the university that you're applying to. So for example, if you're around like a 2.8, 3.0 for some schools, you wouldn't have to submit your test scores. That's the SAT and the ACT. All right. There's some universities which are test blind. You do not have to submit your test scores regardless of your current GPA. All right. With some of the test optional schools, if you don't meet a certain GPA, you will need to maybe either A, submit your test scores, or also B, submit letters of recommendation, personal statements. And those can really help put a face on the application. And I'll touch on that in the next slide. All right. Some universities aren't test optional, so they're requiring the test score. They're requiring letters of recommendation. They're requiring the essays. There is the Common App. You'll see a lot of universities will have their college applications on the Common App. Every state university, so Eastern, Governor State, U of I, UIS, Northeastern, Carbondale, Everett, I can keep going. They're all on the Common application. And for Eastern, I believe it's free. I'm not sure for every other state school, but I'm pretty sure they waive that cost for you.
So Omar, can I ask you a question for our freshmen and sophomores who have, a couple years down the line? Do you think that, and we were actually talking about this in our guidance meeting today. Do you think that Eastern and other schools might still be test optional in a few years, or is this through the pandemic?
We're going test optional 24/7. We were actually planning on going test optional before the pandemic. I can't speak on every university. So I know a lot of universities and a lot of the students actually have been pushing for that. They've been, especially at like larger universities, they've been pushing their board of trustees to move in this direction, to eliminate the barriers that the test scores can provide for access for students of all walks of life to the college setting. I can't speak for what other universities are going to do moving forward, but once again, as freshmen and sophomores, that is going to be a major thing to pay attention to and ask those questions is about the application process. When is the application due? Is it early action? Is it rolling admission? Is it binding? Is it, if I choose Eastern, am I locked in? Or is it non-binding? So meaning you can still apply to other universities. So asking those questions, you'll get that a lot on the campus visit. All right. Speaking of which, some other tips and tricks, 'cause I don't have too much time left. So, scholarship opportunities, asking those questions, going on scholarship search engines, speaking to your school counselors. There's so many ways to help offset the cost. Those campus visits are so important. I mentioned in the bio, I supervise an overnight trip program for students of color here at EIU called Access Granted, where students on the academic side, they get to do various workshops. On the social side, they go through our Greek life. They meet, we do a little step show with our Divine Nine fraternities and sororities. They go to a basketball game, et cetera, et cetera. And it all ends on an admitted student day. So there's schools that will offer these overnight programs. There's bus trips, there's open house, there's there's tailgate opportunities, and you really get to see what campus is all about. So I really recommend, like, if you have a friend that's an alum that's going back to visit, there's a lot of HF alums that work at Eastern or attend EIU now. Go visit with them. If your parents want to come back for homecoming and you want to see where they met, or where they used to kick it at, like what do the kids say? They got to see it through. You got to come to EIU or whatever school that may be. All right. You want to connect on social media. You want to connect with current students, be it Instagram, be it Twitter, social media. A lot of schools are pushing out content so you can really see what the entire college campus is. And, you get to see what the fun experiences that you can have too if you choose that college. All right. So I told you guys overall, I want to give you guys some fuel. So I want to just leave you guys with this. Fuel is an acronym that I created a few years back, actually not a few years back, but over the pandemic. And I really want to talk about, how do we drive this car? How do we keep pushing? How do we keep moving forward? And the first thing is you want to follow up. So you want to follow up with everything that you're doing. So you want to follow up with your faculty members, with your professors, your teachers. You want to follow up with your friends, follow up with your parents, making sure that you are staying on top of everything that is necessary. You want to utilize all of your resources that are provided to you, from your school counselors, from study table hours, from, Miss Edwards is offering a raffle for a great book. Take advantage of those opportunities. If there's a free bus trip, utilize those resources. Get involved in Victors, in any other type of program that they offer. Expand your entire portfolio. Elevate your mindset, challenge yourself, step outside your comfort zone. You might want to take that AP class one time. You never know how you might do in it. You want to take some dual credit courses. You want to maybe try and lean more into what your core interests are. Push yourself, elevate your mindset. And then finally, you want to LOL. You want to lean on love. Love is a pillar that's going to hold us together. So utilize your resources in terms of your family, your friends, your peers, to keep you grounded. We are going through some unique times and we really need to lean on each other so we can continue to see it through. All right. And then once you realize you got this fuel, you're driving the car, you're going to reach the finish line, you're going to graduate from high school, your parents are going to cry, then you're going to move into college, they're going to cry again, and then you're going to graduate and it's going to be tears of joy because they're done paying for you. Okay. And then after that, you're going to realize that there's still gas left in the car because the marathon continues. You can continue driving the car. You're going to have some pit stops. You're going to have to go get some chips from the store. But at the end of the day, you'll be able to keep driving and you'll be able to pay it for it. Omar Solomon, my contact information is somewhere. It's actually not on this screen, but you'll see admissions information. But I can get my contact information to you guys. I'm the counselor for HF, Home with Flossmoor. So you guys will see me a lot. I love recruiting at this school. You guys have the greatest counseling team in the state of Illinois. And I can say that because I've recruited the entire state of Illinois. So definitely I'll stick around for some questions if there are any questions at the end. But I'm going to turn it over to Dawn, who's going to introduce Mr. Mark.
Thank you so much, Omar. That was amazing. And yeah, we will hopefully have some questions for you at the end. And I do want to go over some of your very important points as takeaways towards the end. So right now, I'm going to introduce our next presenter, Mr. Mark Kramer. After spending many years in commercial printing, Mr. Kramer became a first-year school teacher at DuSable High School in Chicago Public Schools. After 6 years of teaching and administration, Mr. Kramer became principal of Rich East High School in Park Forest, Illinois, and began developing a manufacturing program in machining and welding. After placing 5 seniors from the first cohort of 12 students at a local company with $36,000 employment offers, including full health coverage, tuition reimbursement, and retirement benefits, wow, before they earned their high school diplomas. Mr. Kramer retired from education to start Remark Training, Inc., which is a consulting company that offers expertise and training programs in machining and welding throughout the Chicago suburban region. He also works with the workforce development agencies, and that's Remark Training, Inc., by providing a conduit between manufacturing companies and regional high school programs. Without further ado, Mr. Mark Kramer. Thank you.
Thank you, Don. Steve, next slide, please. This was by far the greatest day I ever had in education. And I had a lot of good days, but this one was special. These 5 guys were in the first group of 12 in the machining program and welding program that I started at Rich East. And they're getting employment contracts from a company in Calumet City before they've even had their high school diplomas. Well, I knew they'd talk. That was the whole point of this. And so when they got back, they started talking to their friends, and the interest grew exponentially. And in 1 calendar year, we went from 12 kids at a Rich East High School program to 240 kids at the 3 Rich Township high schools with 3 full-time instructors in 1 calendar year. So the demand was there, and we just needed to put it together a program that was worthy to be able to give them a foundation that led to great careers. The young man that's accepting the contract right now took a position with the pipe fitters union. He was, unfortunately, was in an accident, but he was on year 3. He was at about $70,000 a year. And at the completion of the 4-year training, and he would have been a full-time member, he would have been at $99,000 a year, straight salary, plus benefits. And that doesn't include overtime. So, I mean, these are not lightweight careers that these companies are desperately looking for. Next slide, please. Besides the glaring lack of security to put me that close to a United States Senator, Senator Duckworth came to town to discuss 2 programs that we had started that were involved in paid internships and paid apprenticeship programs. And I just wanted this picture in here more than anything to show you that with a little bit of initiative, and you're involved in some type of manufacturing training, because all these jobs were coming back. You're getting into a supply chain problem now, but there was a problem when all these companies were manufacturing in China. They really had manufacturing supply chain problems because they couldn't get the product here. So they moved a lot of those jobs back. And the problem was we had gone to a different focus on kids. And I'm not advocating against college in any way, shape, or form. But so many kids, that was going to be the focus. We weren't going to train them for anything other than college. And a lot of kids just had a disconnect because they didn't know what they were going to do. So by developing these programs and putting these skills back in, we were able to then bring those jobs back and get the local economies flowing and give people an alternative. And what I want to, next slide, please. It's a great time to be a young person. Every one of you, I don't care what it is you're going to do, you need advanced training. And in some cases, depending on what it is you want to do, and that should be the basis, you need to find, what do I want to do? For many jobs, many careers, it takes a college degree. And that's what you need to be focusing on. What is it I need to do to become what I want to be? But that being said, there are plenty of ways to morph these together at the end of every academic pursuit, I don't care what it is. If I want to get a PhD and I want to be a doctor, I want to be a lawyer, I want to be any of these things, at the end of that training becomes a job. Now, it's a career, but a career is basically several jobs linked together over the span of your working time. So the point is, focus on what it is you need to do to get to doing what it is you want to. But what you need to also look at, the salary of that position at the end of all that training. Does it justify the cost to get there? I've seen so many kids as a principal where they've picked a career that there is no market for on the other side. And I said, well, have you looked at the cost of that? Have you looked at where do you want to be financially and those types of things? And they don't seem to put the two together. So I'm certainly never going to advocate against college. I just want kids to start thinking about, what do I need to do to get to what I want to do? And it may be college, it may be community college, it may be career training. There's just a lot of different things that kids need to consider when they're looking at their future, because like Omar said earlier, be selfish about your future. I mean, that's yours. You get one chance at this. And you're not 18, you're still coming through. There's time to change. There's time to focus on what you want to do. So take time and think about what it is you want. But if you look at if you're thinking about manufacturing, and you can make very good living in manufacturing, there are over 300,000 positions available through this pandemic, which is still the highest pace since 1995. And COVID eliminated 2 years worth of hands-on training. So these problems are exacerbated because of COVID. Not only do we have 300,000 new jobs, we don't have anybody that graduated last year with hands-on skills that you could put in a position with experience. So they're going to need training. So the point is, you have to be able to contact these people, and you have to be able to get them involved in programs that provide that training and get them in these jobs. In the slide that you saw when I was sitting next to Senator Duckworth, I am a classic example of a baby boomer that's post World War II. I'm quite a bit post, but I'm still in the boomer section. But we're getting ready to retire in big numbers, 2.6 million. And that void has to be fixed too. Robots only do so much. They still need humans to be able to do certain things. And all the skill that these people have learned over the years, it's going out the door with them. So what they've done is they've paired older workers with new millennial workers, because the mix is good. The younger worker brings in superior technology skills. They look at things from a fresh perspective. And the older employee has the hands-on experience and the knowledge to be able to put some of the ideas together, and they work very well together as a team. Surprisingly, people like me can still get along with young people and still be productive and make a better workforce than what we have now. And I work with many companies throughout the South suburbs, big ones, small ones, ArcelorMittal, Ford Motor Company, a lot of companies. And what is surprising is that the number one issue that all of them talk about is lack of talent. They don't have the acquisition of people coming in. So it's important for high school programs to develop. It's also important for middle school programs to develop, to get people involved in robotics, get them involved in competitions, which I also represent. I work with Mr. Suarez, at least in the past, with the Southland Southworks Engineering and Robotics Olympics. And that's held in April. And we usually have 30 high schools. There's a robotic team. There's usually it's a VEX this year, and there's usually a program and a challenge, and there's 5 different groups, and you work with companies. And what's great is you get a chance to be working with somebody from an organization, a company that you get to interact with. You get on tours, you get to work with those people, and you find out, let's say you want to go into accounting. Every manufacturing company has an accounting department. They have a sales department, customer service. So it's very good relationship building. You get to go in and meet these people. And like Omar said, they can write you a letter of recommendation for college. I mean, that's a lot better than grandma. I mean, grandma's a homer and she writes a great letter, but it's not the same thing as somebody that's a vice president of a company. So these are things that help you out, and it helps the company out because they're wanting relationships. They want high schools involved. They want also instructors and curriculum people to understand what types of direction they need students to go to be able to be effective when they come on board. Next slide, please. One of the things too, I wanted to mention, Amazon is funding this year the robotics challenge, and they're about to open up the Matson location. It's one of the most automated systems in the world. They're loading inventory in right now. The first orders will come out in November. Amazon is desperately looking for people that know how to program, maintain, keep the robots operating. I think there's 3,500 robots running there, and I guarantee you finding people to keep them running is a number one concern right now that they have. And these are things that the Southworks Robotics Olympics gives you the chance to interact, see that. They're sponsoring the event, so there's a good chance you're going to get to have interaction with Amazon as well. Catch up to you. One of the things that we did with manufacturing companies is we made them part of our board of advisory boards. And in effect, that puts the fox in the hen house. They get to come in, they get to see your program, they get to watch the kids work, they get to build relationships, and they can tell you what areas they need you to provide more expertise on. It's an important thing, the interaction. And we place these kids right off the high school. I mean, they're right there. They get offers from people right there on the spot. So it's a wonderful way. And right now, they're paying college tuition. So if you're in a community college in a related field, and that can be business and a lot of different things, they'll pay that tuition. Next slide, please. I work with every single organization listed here through one form or another. And that usually is about every manufacturing company in the south suburbs. And more importantly, the very bottom one that's in a colored highlight, MyJack Products started today. They started their first paid apprenticeship program. And one of your own Homewood Flossmoor grads was selected for the program. His name is Jaden Davis. I asked him for permission and he gave it to me, of course. And MyJack definitely wanted me to mention this because this is the way that it's moving. More and more companies realize they cannot expect high schools to provide, journeyman level or anywhere close to that. So they're willing to be involved. What they really want are high schools to provide hands-on and training. And there's so much that they really need to learn, CAD related things, that type of, if you're looking for what to do now and you haven't elected, take a CAD track because it's something that you can decide, do I like engineering or not? That's another college situation. But it's a great way for you to get your hands on, see practical uses, and combine that with robotics. And whether it's additive in 3D printers or subtractive in mill and lathe, it's a great way for you to figure out, is this a future that I want to do? Next slide, please. Excuse me. This was a classroom that we had. This was Rich South, and these are hands-on training. You've got a mill working over on the left. You've got a lathe in the center. And an instructor right there with hands-on. And there was not a single student that went through those programs that didn't enjoy being in that classroom. Next one, please. What do I need to know now? You need to learn how to measure, and this will help you in math. I mean, this isn't just, oh, I'm not going to go into machining or welding. I don't need to do this. But if you're making a part, those guys that were signing the contracts to work in Calumet City, they make internal transmission parts. And if that part is out of tolerance, and that's 3/1000ths of an inch, that's 0.003 tenths, hundredths, thousandths. 3/1000ths is the width of a human hair. If the part is out of tolerance that much, it's rejected. So this is exact precision stuff. This isn't, oh, just make a cut over there. That's good enough. Good enough is not something that machinists ever use. Learn how to read a ruler, because you learn proportions, you learn what fractions are, you learn things. And this is one of these things. It's like making change. When you get out there in the real world, know how to make change. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've been at McDonald's and they, without the computer telling them how much change. I mean, these are simple math things, but it'll make you better at everything you do. And if you're in carpentry, you need to learn at least a 30 seconds. Wood doesn't have a great tolerance like metal does. So if you're within a 32nd of an inch on most things with wood, you're okay. Next screen. I got bumped out somewhere. Did we lose Steve?
Yeah, it looks like something looked up. Hold on just a moment, sorry.
Those are some awesome points that you were bringing up, Mr. Kramer, just talking about, and as you were talking, I'm thinking about some of the classes that we have at HF under Mr. May and Mr. Merchants, who do an excellent job in our applied academics. So if there are any students on the program tonight who are in any of our classes like Intro to Small Engines, there's welding, there's the engineering under that, which you mentioned under the project Lead the Way.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's an excellent program.
Excellent program, and we have a lot of students who are working through that program. So a lot of our classes really lead to a lot of these positions that you are talking about. And like I said, under Mr. May and Mr. Merchants, they've really built up the program quite a bit.
Yeah, go to the next one if you could, Steve, please. I want to let you know right now that the highest demand of any person I turn out is female. I placed a female welder this summer with a Sherway group up in Franklin Park, and they're huge. And he asked me, Mark, if you got any more? And it's so hard to find female welders, but they're in demand. They do a great job. They're more mature than boys. If you take a 19-year-old of each gender, historically, girls tend to be more mature, and they like that, and they like them on the workforce because they're a calming effect. Girls, women, men interact differently to situations, and they want to build the force up with women. So this is a great time to be a woman, and they love welding. It's a lot of fun. It really is. If you could just flash down to, the next slide. I wanted to mention one important thing. The young man on the right, this was taken at Kosis Brothers. They're huge machinists. They don't make products. They sell machine time. ArcelorMittal, the big steel mill, when they're rolling steel, they're rolling this thing out and they're pressing rollers that make it smaller and smaller. If they have a blowout where the molten steel leaks through the crust and gets on the rollers, they have to stop production. They bring a semi in, they pull that roller train out, they drive it to Alsop, to Kosis Brothers. They either put a new set of rollers on the truck or they stay and they fix the truck. The driver never leaves, because that machine, when it's down, that's $250,000 an hour when they're making steel. So the young man that you're looking at there, He was looking over blueprints with one of the company administrators, and they pulled me off the side on a plant tour and they said, Mark, we want to hire that kid. And I said, okay, what does he need to know from right now to when you would hire him in the summer? And he gave me a list of things he wanted him to do. We did that. They hired him. I mean, these plant tours are important. You get to interact with people. You get to ask questions so they actually can get a personality around you. And they will hire you because they're looking for somebody that can solve their problem. It's not charity work. When you're sitting across from somebody that looks like me, I've got a problem and I'm looking, are you the one that's going to solve it? Or is the next guy the one that's going to solve it? So you need to convince me that you're the right person for me to hire to take care of that problem. Don't become my next problem. So those are the things that you need to think about when you're going into a career. It's not charity. Convince them you are the only one to solve that problem. And I'm running on time there, so I'll stop. But plant tours matter. It's your chance to put your best face forward. He asked the right questions. He was hired on the spot. So I'll be quiet.
No, that was awesome. Thank you so much, Mark. Great pictures. I love the pictures and showing all the students in action there. So thank you again for that. And great information again from both of you all. I have a couple of questions. I think there was one question in here. What is the Lead the Way program? And Mark, did you want to?
Project Lead the Way, there's actually two versions of it. You're running the true high school version of Project Lead the Way. And it's like a pre-engineering course. You get involved in things. And if you had a robotics background and you got into Project Lead the Way, I think Project Lead the Way also transfers in as some type of college credit, if I'm not mistaken. At least it can, I believe.
It can.
But it's an engineering, and you'll get CAD, you'll get all things. If you go through with that program, you've demonstrated great math skills. And that's why some schools use the middle school program, because if their math skills aren't up to that level, they have a hard time being successful with Project Lead the Way.
Now, Mark, can you elaborate on the CAD, CAD?
Computer aided design. What happens is all these machines run off G code, and CAD is a great way for you to direct. It's in mechanical things too. It's in architecture. It's in all these things where you can computer generate situations and answers. And CAD is one of those things that almost every school offers. And there's different versions of CAD depending on what you're trying to accomplish. But I think it's great for any kid to go into to figure out, hey, do I like engineering? Do I like these things? Because you need to winnow it down to something you enjoy doing, and then go to Omar and find out what's it going to take to get that done. Right. And there is no one answer for everybody. It's if I want to do this, what's the best way to get there?
Right. Awesome. And for Omar, we had someone ask, what is the Common Application? You mentioned that when you were speaking.
Yes, and the Common App is a place where, think of it as a shopping mall for your future. So there's over 900 colleges that are available on the Common App. So you're filling out pretty much one general application, and you're able to select the schools that you can send your information to. Now, with the Common App, some universities, they're free. So a lot of your HBCUs are going to be on the Common App. Your state universities are going to be on the Common App. There's going to be some schools all across the country that are going to be on the Common App. Now, sometimes there is an additional cost for some schools. So once again, throughout the research process, make sure you look into that. Some schools, it's generally free on the Common App, but it's a great place where you can just get one application in and send it to all schools and do it in one sitting.
Okay. And then we had a question about how to get involved with Project Lead the Way. And so when registration time comes around at our school, which will probably be the end of this year in terms of December, we will start that registration process. if not definitely in January. We have a course book under Applied Academics, and that's where you'll find the Project Lead the Way classes and description. And at that time, when you're registering your son and or daughter for the next school year, you would put down those classes as electives for your schedule for the next year. So I can, if you send me an email, I can direct you to where the course book is, and you could start looking at some of those course descriptions now just to kind of get familiar with it. I can also give you Mr. May and Mr. Merchant's information. The department chairperson is Kevin Thomas. He works with Mr. Kramer in terms of helping our students. And so they have all the information on more description in terms of the Project Lead the Way. So I hope that answered your question there. And then, yes, this presentation will be available to view again later. We have had that question. So our fabulous Director of Information Technology, Steve, is recording it, and we are going to be able to show this later. Mr. Kramer and Mr. Solomon, I have some thank yous here in the chat. Thank you for the great information. I just wanted to, one more thing for both of you, just to leave our audience with in terms of what should 9th and 10th graders be doing now to prepare them for that next step. So Mr. Solomon and then Mr. Kramer, in your career industry, and then in the college side, Mr. Solomon, how would you answer that question?
No problem. I think I mentioned this earlier in the presentation, but I definitely want to just stress that we want to be consistently good and not occasionally great, especially when it comes to the academic side of as you prepare for that next step going into college. Anybody can get that occasionally good grade. We can all get that great test score, that great, A on the paper, but are we consistent with everything that we do? Not only academically, but outside of the classroom, how you expand your entire portfolio, what you get involved in. As we stay consistent, it's going to really help make that college process when you're getting ready to apply to colleges that much simpler. So let's be consistent. And also at the end of the day, have fun. I think, I mean, you guys, I love what I do. I found that if you find a job that you love, you'll never work a day for the rest of your life. And I like to have a lot of fun. And I stress that throughout the entire college process. Make sure you guys have fun. Stay consistent. Remember, focus on your focus, but have fun at the end of the day. And that's all.
I would recommend math, if nothing else. Learn basic math, fraction, decimals, and geometry. Know what XY coordinates are. Understand how those work, because these mills are 5-axis machines. So, you may look at somebody that's wearing safety goggles and kind of a uniform, but their mind is doesn't belay the appearance. They've got to think, they've got to do things, they've got to, and every job's different, and it's exciting. And to be able to walk in with nothing and make a machine actually produce something, it's rewarding. So I would get involved with anything Mr. Merchant is teaching. I'd try to get in on it, because he's good, and he's good at all areas of it. So that and math would be what I would stress.
Okay, awesome. And from someone who used to say, and I hear this a lot from students, math is not my thing. I struggle with math. And I used to say that too. And I realized that it's a mindset. It really is a mindset. And when you say that, it puts a block in your mind. So for our students who were thinking like that, I'm just offering that right now you want to stop thinking that way. If that is a career that you want to go into, if that's something that you want to try, remove that mind block, and you can do it with help and resources. You can learn those math skills. And in addition to what Mr. Kramer and Mr. Solomon offered, I just want to offer also that the 4 years goes really quickly, and we'll talk to freshmen and sophomore students and ask them, things like, what are you interested in? What do you want to do? Do you know? And that's fine if they don't, because that's what high school is about, is exploration. But a lot of times it's I don't know, and I don't even know where to start or what to do. And so again, the 4 years goes really quickly. And what I would offer is to try anything and everything, all those things that you think you might want to be interested in. If you play video games, explore that even more. Chess, anything, any interests, hobbies, anything like that will definitely enrich you, and it won't hurt you. And one of the things I like to offer is to use your summers effectively and wisely. Any kind of summer enrichment programs, any internships where you're learning a new skill, or you're taking a class to learn something, where you can get on a college campus and stay for a week or two and kind of get acclimated to how college works, or an internship in a manufacturing company, as Mr. Kramer was offering. Anything will help you to figure out what path or what road that you want to start on. And then the last thing is, if you are, whatever you're doing, start a resume, parents, with and for your students. Just write things down in terms of the dates and the contact information, what your student did, because all of this information will be important and will come up, when they are seniors and looking to, write information and get into different programs. So just want to offer that, and to say thank you to our guests, Mr. Solomon from Eastern Illinois University and Mr. Kramer, Remark Training. Thank you so much for spending your time and sharing information and knowledge with our parents and students. It's very valuable. So we thank you so much.
Could I make one mention? If there's somebody sitting out there with an older sibling that seems to be lost, doesn't have direction, please get in touch with Ms. Edwards. And there are companies that are looking. There are companies that look to train. There might be a situation where just this format might get somebody in line to a company that's willing to train them and make them a good career.
And like you said, this is an exciting time for young people. Yes. And there's so many changes and things that are happening that, out of a thing like the pandemic, there's usually innovation and creativity that is born. So thank you for saying that. Yes, please get in touch with me. My email address is dedwards@hf233.org. And I will get that information to Mr. Kramer. Thank you to my guidance department chairperson, Mr. Smith, and Mr. McCarthy for the contact with Mr. Kramer. And to our HF parents, thank you so much for attending. And again, for this resource, the College and Career Planning, please shoot me an email, and I will leave that. There it is, the email address. And if you put it in the subject line, ECAP, I will get you the resource for you so you can start your planning. And that is going to end our meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.